So now we need to discuss what are the changes to be made to the contents of the audit report in case of a modified opinion. Because with the contents which we saw in 700, those were for an unmodified opinion. So now we shall discuss what are the changes to be made to the contents of the audit report in case of qualified, adverse and disclaimer of opinion. Right. So even though if it is a qualified opinion, will there be a title to your audit report? Yes, title will always be there to the audit report, even though if you are issuing a qualified opinion. Then addressee. So title, addressee. Now, which was the first paragraph in your report? Yes, which was the next paragraph in the report now? Opinion paragraph. But now, instead of just calling it as an opinion paragraph, we will call it as a QO, है ना? Qualified opinion paragraph. Again, qualified opinion paragraph, introductory paragraph, 5 points. And then that the financial statements give a true and fair view except for the effect or except for the possible effect of. You understand? Except for the effect or except for the possible effect of. So, qualified opinion. Then, basis for, next paragraph was what? Basis for opinion. But now, basis for opinion will be called as basis for qualified opinion. Now, in this basis for qualified opinion, first thing what you will mention is the reasons as to why are you qualifying your opinion. What are the matters which give rise to the modification in the audit report? Like in my example, inventory is overvalued by 20 crores. So that reason why I am issuing a qualified opinion is the first thing which I will now mention in the basis for qualified opinion paragraph. Then again same 4 points in the basis for qualified opinion paragraph, SRES. Yes, standards on auditing. Then what you say, responsibilities of the auditor, ethical requirements including independence. And last one, we believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our qualified audit opinion. So, now just before the word audit opinion, we will add one word over there. What is that? Qualified audit opinion. Unmodified opinion, how I used to write the last line? We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. Now I am writing to provide a basis for our qualified audit opinion. So title, addressee, qualified opinion, basis for qualified opinion paragraph, then same thing. What same thing? Tumhara, hamara. Management's responsibility, auditor's responsibility. Reasonable assurance, Priya without a Y and GST. Right? Then other reporting responsibilities under section, so other 143 subsection 3, and then you have the signature, place and date. And now, whenever you issue a modified opinion, rather more specifically a qualified or an adverse opinion, there is always going to be a key audit matter in your audit reports. Key audit matter. Because modifying your opinion itself is a key audit matter. So now, apart from the qualified opinion, if there is any other key audit matter, what you will write? Key audit matters are those matters which in the auditor's professional judgment were of most significance in the audit of financial statements for current period, and apart from the matter given in the basis for qualified opinion paragraph, these are the other key audit matters, or there are no other key audit matters apart from the qualified opinion. So whenever it is a qualified or whenever it is an adverse opinion, key audit matter is always going to come, because modifying opinion itself is a key audit matter. So you'll write key audit matter, there are no other key audit matters or there are other key audit matters. So title, addressee, qualified opinion, basis for qualified opinion, key audit matter, tumhara, hamara, other reporting responsibility, signature, place and date. So what changes happened to the contents of the audit report? True and fair became except for the effect of. Basis for qualified opinion paragraph, now what you do? First you give the reasons for the modification. Second, next one, auditor, that basis for opinion paragraph, last line, we believe that the audit evidence we've obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our qualified audit opinion. Then key audit matter, tumhara, hamara, other reporting responsibilities and signature, place and date. Right. Adverse opinion, very much it goes in line with what we do for a qualified opinion. Again, title, addressee. Now, what will be the heading of the opinion paragraph? Adverse opinion. Again, same thing, introductory paragraph, 5 points. And second thing, financial statements do not give a true and fair view. Is that okay for everyone? Right. Then after that, what will be the next paragraph? Basis for adverse opinion. Again, first thing what you will do over there? Reasons as to why are you issuing an adverse opinion. Next thing, SRES. Now S will be what? We believe that the audit evidence we've obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our adverse audit opinion. Then next one, CAM, key audit matters. Then tumhara, hamara. Then other reporting responsibilities and signature, place and date. Is that okay? Changes, modifications to the contents of the audit report when you issue an adverse opinion. And last one, when you have to issue a disclaimer of opinion. Again, will there be a title to your report? Title, will you have a title to your report? Yes, there will be title. Addressee? Yes. Opinion paragraph heading will now change to disclaimer of opinion. Okay. Can you tell me the first 3 lines of introductory paragraph? First three words of introductory paragraph? We have audited. Okay. For qualified, can you write we have audited the accompanying financial statements? For qualified opinion, yes. For adverse opinion, can you write we have audited the accompanying financial statements? For disclaimer, can you write we have audited? Why? The evidence ही नहीं मिला, कर ही नहीं पाए, तो क्या लिखोगे? Introductory paragraph, first line, we have not audited the accompanying financial statements of ABC Company Limited. We were unable to audit. We have not audited. No. Ekdam, such a nice drafting they have done. They say if it's disclaimer of opinion, introductory paragraph has to start with, we were engaged to audit the accompanying financial statements. हम तो full तैयारी के साथ आए थे audit करने के लिए, वो तो आपने evidence नहीं दिया, इसलिए disclaimer देके जा रहे हैं. हाँ, तो introductory paragraph यहाँ पे क्या हो जाता है? We were engaged to audit. Do you get that? Even though if I don't write the whole thing over here, has the message been communicated? We were engaged to audit. Then next one, we are not in a position and we do not express an opinion as to whether or not the financial statements give a true and fair view. So title, addressee, disclaimer of opinion. Next paragraph, basis for disclaimer of opinion, in which you will now write only the reasons as to why you are issuing a disclaimer of opinion. No writing SRES now. Title, addressee, disclaimer of opinion, basis for disclaimer of opinion, and now in the basis for disclaimer of opinion, you will only write down the reasons. कि हमको बैंक का इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं मिला, हमको इन्वेंट्री का डेटा नहीं मिला, हमें डेटर्स का डेटा नहीं मिला, लोन का डेटा नहीं मिला, because of which we are issuing a disclaimer. So now you will write down only the reasons. Then after reasons, no key audit matter coming if it's a disclaimer. Next one, management's responsibility, auditor's responsibility. Now in auditor's responsibility paragraph, that SRES will come. तो ऊपर का जो basis for opinion paragraph में SRES लिखते थे, now in case of disclaimer, that gets shifted to the auditor's responsibility paragraph. So now auditor's responsibility paragraph, we are engaged to conduct our audit in accordance with the standards on auditing. No question of making a reference to the auditor's responsibility section of the audit report, because we are already in that section of the audit report. इतना तो लॉजिकल है ना. What was the R for? Reference to the responsibilities of the auditor section of the audit report. So now that will not come. Next one, ethical requirements including independence. We have conducted, we've complied with the ethical requirements including independence. And sufficient appropriate audit evidence का क्या कर दोगे? कि because of the reasons given in the BDO, what is BDO? Basis for disclaimer of opinion paragraph, we were unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to form a basis for our audit opinion. So now auditor's responsibility paragraph in case of disclaimer of opinion will have three things: standards on auditing, ethical requirements including independence, and unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Title, addressee, disclaimer of opinion, we were engaged to audit, we are not in a position. Then basis for disclaimer of opinion paragraph, where you will only give the reasons for the modification for the disclaimer. Tumhara management's responsibility, auditor's responsibility, SES, no R, है ना, जो बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन पैराग्राफ में था वो डिस्क्लेमर के केस में नीचे शिफ्ट हो गया है. फिर O, व्हाट इज द O फॉर? अदर रिपोर्टिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज 143(3), and then signature, place and date. Right, these are the changes which happen to the contents of the audit report in case of qualified, in case of adverse, and in case of disclaimer of opinion. Right, qualified, adverse and disclaimer. So that is SA 705. What is 705? Modifications to the opinion in the independent audit report. One very important over there is the 2x2 matrix, and second important, what are the changes which will take place to the content of the audit report in case of qualified, adverse and disclaimer. And then we have the last standard in the 700 series, which is SA 706, which is regarding the emphasis of matter paragraph and the other matter paragraph in the independent auditor's report. Okay, emphasis of matter and other matter. Anything fundamental to the user's understanding you want to put it in the audit report, then that will come under the emphasis of matter paragraph, which is already included in the financial statements, which is already there in the financial statements. You're just highlighting that matter in your audit report by way of an emphasis of matter paragraph. And an emphasis of matter, like generally an example taken for emphasis of matter is regarding the contingent liability. Now, would contingent liability for any litigation claim be already disclosed in the notes to account of a company? Contingent liability of a company, say 2000 crore litigation, will it be disclosed in the notes to account of a company? Yes, if it is not disclosed in the notes, then so we will have to modify our opinion. Okay, right. So will it be given contingent liability? Will it be given in the notes to account of the company? Yes, but auditor says though it is given in the notes, the matter is already included in the financial statements. But still, I want to highlight this matter in my audit report. That can be done by way of an emphasis of matter paragraph. Right. No, it's not a key audit matter. See, if it is related to the financial statements where, it is regarding not a audit difficulty or, the particular that matter, audit effort or any significant accounting matter, then it will come under emphasis of matter. Understanding which is fundamental. Okay, auditor says it's very important. When it is relevant, then that comes under the other matter paragraph. When it is fundamental, then it comes under emphasis of matter paragraph. Okay. Right. So one, what should be the heading of this paragraph? Emphasis of matter paragraph. Second, what does it say? This particular paragraph, when you put it in the audit report, it should have a clear reference as to where the related information can be found in the financial statements. Like say if it is in note number 19. And has the auditor modified his opinion with regard to the matter being emphasized? से ऑडिटर ने वो कॉन्टिंजेंट लाइबिलिटी के बारे में अपने ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में एम्फेसिस ऑफ मैटर पैराग्राफ में लिख दिया, तो हैज ही मॉडिफाइड हिज ओपिनियन विद रिगार्ड टू दैट कॉन्टिंजेंट लाइबिलिटी ऑफ 2000 करोड़? नहीं. देखो, अगर मॉडिफाई करना होता तो बेसिस फॉर मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन पैराग्राफ में जाता ना. व्हाई वुड इट कम अंडर द एम्फेसिस ऑफ मैटर पैराग्राफ? सो लास्ट फीचर ऑफ एम्फेसिस ऑफ मैटर पैराग्राफ, विदाउट मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ ओपिनियन. Without modifying the opinion, he is only drawing attention to the matter. So what should be the heading? Emphasis of matter or any other appropriate heading. A clear reference as to where the related information can be found in financial statements and without modification of opinion. Also, what does the explanation of 706 emphasis of matter say? It is not a substitute for disclosing a key audit matter, or it is not a substitute for the auditor to modify his opinion. So that's an emphasis of matter paragraph. Okay, and other matter, anything which is relevant to users' understanding. Like, the law regulation permits the auditor to give further explanation. Another set of financial statements have been prepared. The report is only for a specific set of users. Say it only for a particular set of users. Auditor wanted to resign because there was a limitation on scope, but he could not resign. But he says, now I want to put this in my audit report. कि मुझे resign करना था, but मैं resign नहीं कर पाया. ये मुझे अपने report में डालना है. अब देखो, this is not an emphasis of matter का matter. Because is it related to financial statements? Is it included in financial statements that auditor wanted to resign, he could not resign? No. But he wants to put it in the audit report. So how do you do that? By way of the other matter paragraph. So what should be the heading of this paragraph? Other matter paragraph. Okay. And in the old audit report format, what they used to say, okay, what should be the placement of emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph in the audit report? Immediately after the opinion paragraph. In the old standards, what they used to say, okay, what about the location of the placement of this emphasis of matter and other matter paragraph in the audit report? Immediately after the opinion paragraph. Now in the new standard for 706, it says, as in the auditor's judgment, it would be appropriate. So now there is now they are again floating. They can come anywhere. They can immediately come after the introduction paragraph. They can come after other reporting responsibilities. So what about the placement of these two paragraphs? Right? What about the placement of the emphasis of matter and other matter paragraph in the audit report? Yes, it says auditor's judgment. It depends upon the auditor's judgment, okay, where this matter should be put in the audit report. Yani ke now there is no fixed location as to where these paragraphs would come in the audit report. They can come immediately after opinion, they can come after auditor's responsibility, management's responsibility, floating. Right, so that's the whole discussion regarding the audit report. 700, 701, 705 and 706. Right, in your RTP May 18, again you have a repeat question from the suggested. And differentiate between reporting to shareholders and reporting to TCWG. And second one, qualified opinion versus emphasis of matter paragraph. Right, so that is one RTP question which they've put, and the new thing which is over there, which is regarding the key audit matter. Right, now I come to the next standard which I have got to discuss with you, which is SA 80, which is SA 810. SA 810, engagements to report on summary financial statement. So I'll discuss summary financial statements and I will discuss 3420 with you, which is the pro forma financial information. So engagements to report on summary financial statements. Now, the moment I talk about the term summary financial statements, the first thought coming to your mind or the first word coming to your mind has to be the applied criteria. What is applied criteria? The criteria applied by the management in the preparation of summary financial statements. Because say these are my historical financial statements, audited financial statements. From this I want to prepare summary financial statements. Obviously from these I will prepare summary, no? So now from these, when I have to prepare summary, I need to decide what I need to retain and what I need to delete, not keep it in the summary. Then only I can prepare summary. No, if everything what is here, it is there in summary, then you cannot call it as summary. So you have to apply some criteria, okay, what will be there in summary and what will not be there in summary. So what to keep and what to delete, what is that called as applied criteria. The criteria applied by the management in the preparation of financial statements. They say, when a company prepares financial statements, what is the first thing the auditor should check for? AFRF. Applicable financial reporting framework. Whenever you are checking prospective financial information, SAE 3400, the first thing which the auditor should check for is the assumptions which have been made by the management in the preparation of this prospective financial information. Because prospective किसके basis पे बनेगा? Assumptions के basis पे ना. So as an auditor, what do I need to check for? I need to check for the assumptions. Now next standard which I am going to discuss, pro forma financial information, PFFI. The moment I talk about pro forma financial information, the first thing which the auditor needs to check for is the applicable criteria. What criteria has been applied by the responsible party in the preparation of this pro forma financial information. So this is like some basic knowledge, है ना, कि तुमने समरी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स का 1.5 पेज का आंसर लिखा है और उसमें एक बार भी गलती से भी अप्लाइड क्राइटेरिया वर्ड यूज नहीं किया है, और ऊपर से पता नहीं क्यों ऐसा करते हैं, पर घर पे आके जब ऑडिट का पेपर लिख के आते हैं और लॉ के पेपर की तैयारी शुरू करने के पहले बैठ के इवैल्यूएट करते हैं कि कितना मार्क्स आना चाहिए. यू अंडरस्टैंड? और इवैल्यूएट करके फिर सोचते हैं हाँ समरी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आया था, मैंने 1.5 पेज का आंसर लिखा है, तो कितना भी बुरा एग्जामिनर रहा 2 मार्क तो किधर नहीं है. दो ऐसा कुछ तो जुगाड़ करके कैसे तो वो टोटल को फर्स्ट पेज पे 40 पे लाके रखते हैं, उसको एक सर्कल करते हैं, फिर लॉ का पढ़ाई चालू करते हैं. पता नहीं, some happiness is derived out of the process. Okay, and then now you thought you will get 2 in summary. तो इसीलिए तुम्हारा टोटल 38 से 40 आ गया था, क्योंकि तुमने क्या एस्टिमेट लगाया था कि समरी में तो मेरा 2 मार्क्स आ जाएगा. समरी में यू गेट अ बिग 0. 0 का साइज जो भी रहो, 0 तो 0 ही रहता है, बट स्टिल एग्जामिनर माइट गिव यू अ बिग 0. And then you say institute. The institute say anything, you know, for it's like the equation is very different. It's like it is for you who it is important to become a chartered accountant. For the institute it is not. You understand? No? It's a course for minority, where it is, you know, it is your hard work and whatever your excellence which matters in the preparation of the subject over here. तो मतलब it is so surprising कि summary financial statements का 1.5 पेज का आंसर है और उसमें applied criteria word यूज नहीं किया है. लालत है, मतलब वो जो ऐसे हिंदी मूवीज के जो डायलॉग है ना, वैसा टाइप का सिचुएशन है ये. You've written an answer and there is no mention of applied criteria over there. ओके तो वो बोलते हैं ना मैडम मुझे समझता सब कुछ है, तो फिर मुझे मार्क्स नहीं आता है. पर क्यों मार्क्स नहीं आता है? क्योंकि एक तो यू राइट इन योर ओन लैंग्वेज विच इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. तो बोलते हैं मैडम देखो ना मैंने लिखा है बराबर, वही तो मेरा मीनिंग वही है ना मैडम, जो वो बोल रहे वही तो मैंने लिखा है. बट यू शुड नो एट सीए फाइनल लेवल, एक्सपीरियंसिंग ICAI सिंस इंटर एंड CPT whatever, you know, if you've gone through CPT also, okay, there are 3 types of answer: the right answer, the wrong answer, and the ICAI answer. You understand? And what you end up writing in the exam is the right answer, which is not the level of expectations of ICAI. You know what they expect is that a ICAI answer, you know, full proof. You know, every possibility of what should be written in the answer should be mentioned over there. Okay, so what am I talking about? Applied criteria. So I am now going to discuss with you the audit procedures of SA 810. What is 810? Summary financial statements. Has this question been previously asked in the exams? Yes, we expect that the question could be repeated. So ATF है ना. Audit procedures मतलब पहले तो you should understand the situation. ये क्या है? Historical financial statements. ये क्या है? Summary financial statements. Auditor को क्यों बुलाया गया है कि auditor ये summary financial statements पे issue a report. हाँ, so now ये summary financial statements पे auditor ने क्या procedure perform करना चाहिए before issuing a report is what I am going to discuss with you right now. You understand? जैसे first to tell you कि क्या report issue होता है, तो अगर compliance framework है तो financial statements पे हम क्या report issue करते हैं? Prepared. तो summary financial statements पे हम क्या report issue करते हैं कि these summary financial statements are consistent with the audited financial statements of ABC Company Limited. और अगर fair presentation framework है तो financial statements पे हम क्या opinion express करते हैं? True and fair. तो summary financial statements पे फिर क्या opinion express होता है कि these summary financial statements are a fair summary of the audited financial statements of ABC Company Limited. है ना. तो अगर compliance framework है तो summary पे क्या opinion express होता है? Consistent. और अगर fair presentation framework है तो summary पे क्या opinion express होता है? Fair summary. Whether they are a fair summary of the audited financial statements or the historical financial statements of ABC Company Limited. I hope you are awake. Should not happen that at 2 or 3 o'clock तुम्हें लगा कि बस आए थे बैठे थे अब जा रहे हैं. No. There should be some addition into the knowledge or some revision of whatever you've studied so far. Okay, it is my urge to you that please be very attentive in the class. Okay, right. So now I discuss with you the audit procedure. Procedure number 1. वेदर मुझे ये चेक करना है, क्योंकि मुझे ये समरी पे क्या रिपोर्ट देना है, से इट्स अ फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन फ्रेमवर्क, क्या रिपोर्ट देना है, फेयर समरी. तो ये समरी में मैं व्हाट ऑल विल आई चेक. पॉइंट नंबर 1, वेदर दीज समरी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स एडिक्वेटली डिस्क्लोज देयर समराइज्ड नेचर. मतलब ये समरी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में हेडिंग होना चाहिए समरी बैलेंस शीट, समरी स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, समरी कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट या अब्रिज्ड. So whether they adequately disclose their summarized nature. Second one, whether these summary financial statements adequately disclose the applied criteria. जैसे financial statements के notes to account में accounting policies should be disclosed, वैसे summary financial statements में the applied criteria should be disclosed. Procedure number 3, whether these summary financial statements have been prepared by the management. Whether summary financial statements have been prepared by the management in accordance with the applied criteria. तो applied criteria में लिखा है कि contingent liabilities will be disclosed in summary, और आप summary देख रहे हो उसमें contingent liability है ही नहीं. So have they been prepared in accordance with applied criteria? No. So you have to check whether they have been prepared in accordance with the applied criteria. These are the first 3 procedures. Procedure number 4, compare. Okay, whether compare the summary financial statements with the audited financial statements or the historical financial information. Okay, whether summary financial statements have been properly derived from the audited financial statements. So you know ये audited financial statements है, यहाँ पे दिख रहा है fixed assets 10,000 crore, तो मैंने summary में भी जाके देखना चाहिए summary में fixed assets 10,000 crore. कंपेयर करना चाहिए ना कि समरी में जो भी नंबर्स है वो कहां से आने चाहिए, हिस्टोरिकल फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन. ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोसीजर है. हाँ, whether summary have been properly derived from the historical financial information. Procedure number 5, whether the summary financial statements are at an appropriate level of aggregation. Whether the summary financial statements are at an appropriate level of aggregation. क्यों नो कई समरी के चक्कर में अति समरी तो नहीं हो गया कि समरी है इसलिए डेप्रीसिएशन ही नहीं दिखाया, तो बोलते हैं डेप्रीसिएशन नहीं दिखाया तो इट विल नॉट शो अ फेयर समरी, है ना. तो ऑडिटर बोलता है यार ठीक है समरी है तो क्या हुआ, बट ये तो आपको दिखाना ही पड़ेगा इन द समरी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, राइट. सो आर दे एट एन एप्रोप्रिएट लेवल ऑफ एग्रीगेशन. Now to the users of my financial statements, I am giving them summary financial statements. But there is some user, he says, नहीं मुझे तो detail वाला देखना है. I तो want to have a look at the audited financial statements. So whether the management has disclosed in the summary financial statements from whom or where are the audited financial statements available, unless law regulation says that they need not be made available. So procedure number 6, auditor, what do you need to check? Whether the summary financial statements disclose okay, from whom or where the audited financial statements are be available, unless law regulation says that they need not be made available. And say summary में दिया है कि audited financial statements are available on the website of the company, or they are available at the registered office of the company, whatever is given. Point number 7, auditor, you actually go to the website of the company and check whether audited financial statements are really available. नहीं तो जनरली क्या होता है, कहीं पे भी एक लिंक दी हुई रहती है कि for refer to this link and you click on that link और फिर क्या आता है, error 404. You understand? तो ऐसा तो नहीं होना चाहिए ना कि लिंक दिया है क्या, कि समरी में लिंक दिया है क्या कि ऑडिटेड कहाँ अवेलेबल है, हैज इट बीन डिस्क्लोज्ड, यस. बट पॉइंट नंबर 7 यू इट सेज कि ऑडिटर यू गो एंड चेक इज इट रियली अवेलेबल वेयर इट इज सेट टू बी मेड अवेलेबल. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? ऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आर दे really available where they are said to be made available. Okay, very much a big possibility for this question to get repeated in the exams in question number 1. What are the procedures to be performed by an auditor in case of an engagement to report on summary financial statements, right? Procedure number 1, adequately disclose their summarized nature, adequately disclose the applied criteria, prepared in accordance with the applied criteria. Compare whether they've been properly derived, are they at an appropriate level of aggregation, has management disclosed in the summary from whom or where audited are available, and are they really available where they are said to be made available. Coming to the next standard, SAE 3420, R raised to 50. R raised to 50. Assurance engagement to report on the compilation of pro forma financial information included in the prospectus, PFFI, है ना. और पत्थर की लकीर बना लो तुम्हारे दिमाग में कि whenever you talk about pro forma financial information, the next term coming to your mind has to be applicable criteria. And for the purpose of 3420, management is referred to as the responsible party. तो पता है 3420 में management responsibility paragraph का heading क्या होता है? Responsible party's responsibility. क्योंकि 3420 management is to be referred to as the responsible party. तो management's responsibility कैसे लिखते हैं? Responsible party's responsibility. So first two important terms which you need to remember from 3420 is applicable criteria and responsible party. Is that okay for everyone? Briefly first let me tell you what is pro forma financial information. Everybody with me? Does everybody in the class know that we finished 810 and we've started with 3420? That's an indication for me to know that yes, you are awake. Everybody knows? Oh, that's very nice. Okay. So now pro forma financial information. Say the company wants to prepare pro forma financial information as on 31st March 2018. Please understand first. है ना, 31st March 2018. Okay. And now the company has acquired on 1st October 2018. Say A Limited has acquired B Limited. When? 1st October 2018. And now this happened later. Na? When did company A acquire company B? On 1st October 2018. Now say in November 2018, the company is preparing the financial statements as on 31st March 2018. So when are they preparing financial statements? 31st March 2018. When? In November 2018. So now you tell me, as on 31st of March, had B Limited been acquired? They are preparing in November. Has the event already happened up to November? Yes, but as on 31st of March, had the event occurred? Had the event or transaction taken place as on 31st of March? Had the event or transaction taken place as on 31st of March, that had A Limited already acquired B Limited as on 31st of March? No. When has it been acquired? On a later date, on a later date, on 1st of October. Now what does it say? कि we know we have acquired it on 1st of October. Had A Limited acquired B Limited on 31st of March, what would the financial information look like? Is pro forma financial information. You understand? What does it say? What is the formula for pro forma financial information? Unadjusted financial information plus pro forma adjustment. Pro forma adjustment is what? The event or transaction which had taken place at a later date, but as if it had taken place at an earlier date, selected for the purpose of the presentation. Whatever is the resulting amount is PFFI, pro forma financial information. Because say to the shareholders of the company, you are issuing the prospectus of 31st March. So you have acquired a company on a later date. So you want to say कि देखो ये भी acquisition का effect है, but it is on a later date. So had it been taken place at an earlier date, then that is pro forma financial information. Does everybody understand that? Unadjusted financial information plus pro forma adjustment is equal to pro forma financial information. Yes, so pro forma adjustment is what? The applicable criteria, the event or transaction which had taken place at a later date, but as if it had taken place at an earlier date, selected for the purpose of the presentation. Does everybody understand that? Okay, right. So now, in this standard, I have to discuss 3 questions with you. One, the acceptance of the engagement, which was asked in RTP May 17. Right? RTP May 17. Then the agreement with the responsible party in case of an engagement to, yes, report on the pro forma financial information, which is asked in RTP November 17. And the third one, which is not there in any RTP or any suggested, but the procedures for pro forma financial information. So acceptance, agreement and the procedures. Yes, the acceptance, the agreement and the procedures. Is that okay for everyone? Acceptance, the agreement and the procedures. These are the 3 questions of 3420, which are most likely any one out of those 3 could come in your exams. Okay, first one, it is regarding the acceptance. So now again you got a call from your client and your client is asking you कि CA वो हमने जरा pro forma financial information बनाया है, can you issue us an assurance report, है ना, on that. Okay, now you that time on the phone you are listening to the word pro forma financial information first time in your life. इसके पहले जिंदगी में कभी ये टर्म नहीं सुना था, PFFI क्या होता है. तो do you know what is pro forma? Nothing. ऑडिटर को क्या अश्योरेंस देना होता है, क्या रिपोर्ट देना होता है, डू यू नो एनीथिंग? यू नो नथिंग. एंड यू आर टेलिंग यस यस क्लाइंट आई कैन कम, आई विल एक्सेप्ट द एंगेजमेंट. नो, कहां जा रहे हो? आता वाता कुछ नहीं एंड सेइंग कि यस एक्सेप्ट द एंगेजमेंट. Like, you know, it is like someday you're sitting in you've boarded an aircraft and the air hostess makes an announcement that due to some reason the pilot is not able to come, so the flight has been cancelled. So he said, no need to cancel the flight, I will fly it. Where you are going? You understand? No. So first thing in the acceptance, auditor, you need to check, do you have the competence and do you have the capability to perform such an engagement? Competence and capability. Do you understand? Do you have the competence and do you have the capability to perform the engagement? You know what is our main precondition when we accept an engagement of 210? The acceptability of the AFRF, the applicable financial reporting framework. Here our precondition, next condition is going to be the acceptability of the applicable criteria. Company is saying that as if we have acquired these 4 companies, we have to prepare pro forma financial information. So then you check at a later date whether these 4 companies have been acquired. None of them acquired. वो बोलते नहीं बस ऐसा ही good दिखना चाहिए ना prospectus में. तो इसीलिए we want to show as if we have acquired these 4 companies. Auditor says no. The practitioner says your applicable criteria is not acceptable. See, actually you have acquired and then you preparing pro forma on the basis that had we acquired on an earlier date, that is acceptable. But you have not acquired in October and still you are saying on 31st March we want to show as if we have acquired. Your criteria is not acceptable. Do you understand? The acceptability of the applicable criteria. Next one, the wording of his opinion. What type of an opinion, what level of an assurance given by the practitioner in case of this engagement? Again, a reasonable assurance. Okay, the pro forma financial information has been compiled by the responsible party in accordance with the applicable criteria. So the wording of his opinion, that is the expected form and content of the report. So what is point number 1? Competence and capability. Second one, the acceptability of the criteria. Third one, the wording of his opinion. Is it right for everyone? The wording of his opinion. Procedure number 4. Okay, the unadjusted UFI. What is UFI? Unadjusted financial information has been audited or reviewed. तो जो वो so अभी ये pro forma financial information is something like consolidated ना, parent company plus subsidiary, line by line addition and whatever is the consolidated numbers you get. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, कंपनी A प्लस कंपनी B का एक्विजिशन और जो भी टोटल लेके आएगा that will be pro forma financial information. तो when I write unadjusted financial information, that is column A. You get now what is the formula for pro forma financial information? Unadjusted financial information plus pro forma adjustment is equal to pro forma financial information. So it says if the unadjusted financial information has been audited or reviewed, and if there is any EOM, emphasis of matter paragraph, or any modified opinion which has been issued, whether that will be incorporated in the audit report, in the report of this pro forma financial information. तो जो अनएडजस्टेड कंपनी ए का स्टैंड अलोन का जो रिपोर्ट है उसमें कोई अगर मॉडिफिकेशन है, कोई एम्फेसिस है, तो वेदर दैट विल बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन द फाइनल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, इन द अश्योरेंस रिपोर्ट. देन नेक्स्ट वन, द अनएडजस्टेड फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन हैज नेवर बीन ऑडिटेड और रिव्यूड. ऊपर वाला सिचुएशन क्या था कि इट वाज ऑडिटेड और रिव्यूड. नाउ व्हाट वी आर सेइंग, इट हैज नेवर बीन ऑडिटेड और रिव्यूड. नाउ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, यू विल हैव टू डू द KOC, knowledge of client's business. You will also have to understand their accounting practices. And the last one in the acceptance, the event or transaction, the company B which you have to acquire, again that has never been audited or reviewed. Again in that case, knowledge of client's business and the accounting practices. क्योंकि पता है कंपनी ए प्लस कंपनी बी इज इक्वल टू गोइंग टू बी इक्वल टू प्रो फॉर्मा फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन. सो फॉर डूइंग लाइन बाय लाइन एडिशन देयर शुड आल्सो बी हार्मोनाइजेशन, है ना, सेम अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज बीइंग फॉलोड. इफ वन इज फॉलोइंग SLM, अदर फॉलोइंग WDV, you can't what you say compile, you can't add them together like what we say in consolidated financial statements. No. So the event or transaction has never been audited or reviewed. In that case, again, knowledge, understanding the entity and also understanding the accounting practices being followed by the entity. Do you understand? These are the considerations while accepting an engagement to report on pro forma financial information. Competence, capability, acceptability of the applicable criteria, the wording of his opinion, unadjusted has been audited, reviewed, has never been audited, reviewed, or the event or transaction has never been audited or reviewed. Everybody, is it okay? Yes, if you study from any book where 3420 is given, very good. Or the same thing you will find it in the RTP May 17 and November 17. So don't worry about it. Okay, right now time does not permit me that I go to the text and again show it to you, because it will be repetition and we'll be able to cover less in that case. So that's why we'll do this and we'll go ahead. Next one, now the agreement. Whose responsibility to compile the pro forma financial information in accordance with the applicable criteria? Responsible party's responsibility. Right, so now we are going to talk about the agreement with the responsible party. So one, what does it say? To adequately disclose and describe the applicable criteria and to prepare the pro forma, to compile, rather than to say prepare, I should say compile. Right, to compile the pro forma financial information in accordance with the applicable criteria. Whose responsibility? Responsible party's responsibility. So what are the first two responsibilities of the responsible party? Adequately disclose and describe the applicable criteria and to compile the pro forma financial information in accordance with the applicable criteria. And then to provide the practitioner with all information, any additional information, and also unrestricted access. From where have I taken these points? All information, additional information, unrestricted access, preconditions of SA 210, agreeing the terms of audit engagement. So any preconditions, any acceptance you tell us to do the drafting, our base is SA 210. 210 में हम क्या बोलते हैं? Preparation and presentation of financial statements in accordance with AFRF, management your responsibility. यहाँ पे क्या बोला? To compile the pro forma financial information in accordance with the applicable criteria. Whose responsibility? Responsible party's responsibility. समझता है? Customize करना पड़ता है. So adequately disclose the applicable criteria, compile in accordance with the applicable criteria, responsible party's responsibility, and to provide the practitioner with all information, additional information and unrestricted access. Okay for everyone? Okay. Then next one. Now we talk about the procedures. Right? Procedures, I'll just write it further because I don't have adequate place over there. So now I talk about the procedures of PFFI. Very important, r raised to 10. All three questions are r raised to 10. And opening ceremony awaited of 3420 in the exam. What is the formula for PFFI? Unadjusted financial information plus pro forma adjustment is equal to PFFI. Now I am going to discuss with you the procedures. Everybody with me? Now I am going to discuss with you the procedures. Procedure number 1. Whether the unadjusted financial information has been extracted from an appropriate source. So column 1, you need to take it from company A ka standalone financial statements and check whether the numbers are correctly taken from there. Whether unadjusted financial information has been extracted from an appropriate source. Procedure 2, pro forma adjustments, are they directly attributable? Are they directly attributable? Are they factually supportable? Are they factually supported? कि सही में ये event आगे जाके हुआ है क्या? And are they consistent with the AFRF? I told you na, otherwise line by line addition asambhav. है ना? Consistent with the AFRF. If company A is following SLM, company B, that company which you have acquired, that should also be following SLM. Otherwise line by line addition not possible. First you will have to do the gap conversion. है ना? तो directly attributable, factually supportable, consistent with the AFRF. And procedure number 3, does it lead to an appropriate presentation of the pro forma financial information? So developing the answer for the procedures of pro forma financial information is very easy once you know the formula for pro forma financial information. Developing the answer for procedures of PFFI is very easy once you know the formula for PFFI. Unadjusted financial information, has it been extracted from an appropriate source? Pro forma adjustments, are they directly attributable, factually supportable, consistent with the AFRF? Procedure number 3, does it lead to an appropriate presentation of the pro forma financial information? And then there are 2 additional points regarding the AC. What is AC? The applicable criteria. Okay, the applicable criteria are not in conflict with the requirement of any law or regulation, and that it does not lead to the prospective financial information from being misleading. So it should not be misleading and it should not be in conflict with any law or regulation. It should not be misleading and it should not be in conflict with any law or regulation. That is the 2 additional points regard to the applicable criteria. Not in conflict with law regulation and it is not misleading. Is that okay? PFFI, pro forma financial information. See, these are like, you know, do or die questions. If you study it and you remember what are the contents, you can get 3 out of 4 or 3.5 out of 5 for such questions, or at least 2 out of 4. But there is no scope of developing this answer on your own in the exams. Okay, so what are the 3 questions I discussed? Acceptance of an engagement to report on pro forma. Second, the agreement with the responsible party when you have been engaged to report on pro forma. And third, the procedures to be performed by the practitioner in case of an engagement to report on the pro forma financial information. Is it okay for everyone? The acceptance, the agreement, and then the procedures. Is it okay? Right. Yes, I just want to make a remark regarding 240 because several times in the exam we see a question on 240. The auditor's responsibilities relating to fraud in an audit of financial statements. So, you know, they say that management fraud has been detected, or what are the duties of the auditor in relation to fraud. So, I will give you some general content or masala to write in your answers when a question is, case study is asked regarding fraud in your exams. So, first starting point in your answer has to be that the primary responsibility for detection and prevention of fraud and error rests with the management. So the primary responsibility for detection, prevention of fraud and error rests with the management. As an auditor, what is the objective of the auditor? Auditor's responsibility is to obtain a reasonable assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. Yes, and what does it say? Audit, due to the inherent limitations of an audit, there is an unavoidable risk that some material misstatements may not be detected, even though if the audit has been planned and performed in accordance with the standards on auditing. So that means in simple language, what are we saying? No guarantee for fraud error detection. There is an unavoidable risk. What unavoidable risk? That some material misstatements may not be detected. Next one, point number 3. What is more difficult to detect, fraud or error? What is more difficult to detect, fraud or error? Fraud. Why fraud is more difficult to detect? Because intentional misrepresentation, falsification, manipulation involved, and a concealment of fraud could be done. Right. And what is more difficult to detect, management fraud or employee fraud? Management fraud. Why? Because management is in a higher position and generally their work will not be overseen by anybody else. So that is why management fraud is more difficult to detect than an employee fraud. So whenever you are asked a question in the exam, okay, what are the responsibilities of the auditor in relation to fraud? First, the primary responsibility rests with the management. Primary objective of an audit is to obtain a reasonable assurance and there is an unavoidable risk. Then fraud is more difficult to detect than an error and management fraud is more difficult to detect than an employee fraud. And whenever there is a question anywhere where you need to make a reference of fraud in your answers, 240, and you have to make a reference of fraud in your answer. पूरी दुनिया को अगर तुम्हें फ्रॉड के बारे में कुछ लिखना है तो कुछ बताना है तो कितने बार बताना चाहिए? 10-12 बार. कभी भी any entity, any client, है ना, you come to know that there is a fraud which has taken place, suspected fraud, noticed fraud, reported fraud. So you have to tell the entire world chilla ke how many times? 10 to 12 times. Why 10 to 12 times? Because one, you have clause 10 of CARO 2016. Any fraud on the company or any fraud by the company by its officers or employees. So external frauds not covered in CARO 2016. Any fraud on the company or any fraud by the company by its officers or employees noticed or reported during the year. If yes, the nature and amount involved is to be indicated. And second one, 12 बार क्यों बताना चाहिए? 143(12), which is regarding the duty to report the fraud to CG, central government. तो इसीलिए 10-12 बार है ना, clause 10 and 143(12). Right. What is 143(12)? ATF. बहुत ट्रेंड है आजकल, है ना, 143(12) का क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में being asked. What does it say? If an auditor in the course of performance of his duties as an auditor has reasons to believe that an offense involving fraud, which involves or is expected to involve individually an amount of 1 crore or above, is being or has been committed against the company by its officers or directors, it shall report the matter to the central government in the manner as may be prescribed. And then we divide the chart into two parts. If the fraud is less than 1 crore or 1 crore or more. Less than 1 crore, what does it say? Immediately but not later than 2 days. Report the matter to the audit committee, board of directors as the case may be. And then it says you also need to mention about it in the board's report. Yes, if it is 1 crore or more, then again first thing same, immediately but not later than 2 days, report the matter to the audit committee, board of directors and seek their reply or observation for 45 days. If they reply, then within 15 days from the date of reply, the report on fraud, the reply of the audit committee board and the comments of the auditor should be reported to the CG. And no reply within the stipulated period of 45 days, then within 15 days after the expiry of 45 days, the reporting on fraud, or note that there has been no reply of the audit committee board of directors to be reported to CG. Yes, it has, the reporting has to be done in form ADT 4. The letter has to be addressed to the Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs under registered post acknowledgement due, followed by a speed post and an email confirmation for the same. है ना, the seal of the firm should be given and also the membership number, address, telephone number of the CA should be mentioned. And these provisions are also applicable to mutatis mutandis to the cost auditor and to the secretarial auditor. Yes, do you know that? Okay. So very important, clause 10 and then 143.12, which is regarding duty to report the fraud to CG. तो 143.12 तो इम्पोर्टेंट था और उसके एग्जाम में क्वेश्चंस आ गए हैं और अभी भी आ सकते हैं, है ना, इट कैन बी आस्क्ड फर्दर. बट एक जो पर्टिकुलर कंपनी एक्ट का सेक्शन है 140 सबसेक्शन 5, जिसका अभी तक एग्जाम में ओपनिंग सेरेमनी नहीं हुआ है. विच वन? 140 subsection 5. Removal of auditor by tribunal or CG. The tribunal either suo moto or on an application received from CG or any person concerned is satisfied. What? That the auditor of the company has acted in a fraudulent manner or has abated, यानी कि assisted or colluded in any fraud by or in relation to the company or its directors or officers. It may by order direct the company to change its auditors. Are you getting? Yes, you need to remember the starting point. Well begun is half done. But obviously you have to complete it also. What does it say? The tribunal either suo moto, could say, or an application received from CG or any person concerned is satisfied that the auditor has acted in a fraudulent manner or has abated or colluded in any fraud by or in relation to the company or its directors or officers. It may by order direct the company to change its auditors. If the application is received from CG and the tribunal is satisfied that yes, this auditor has abated or colluded or acted in a fraudulent manner, it says the order has to be passed by the tribunal within 15 days and the new auditor will now be appointed by the central government, है ना, the new auditor, because the earlier auditor is being removed. So the new auditor will now be appointed by CG. These points are applicable in case if the application is received from CG. Because what are the wordings? Tribunal either suo moto or an application received from CG or any person concerned. So if the application is received from CG and the tribunal is satisfied that the auditor is to be removed, then the order has to be passed by the tribunal within 15 days and the new auditor will now be appointed by the central government. Such an auditor against whom the final order has been passed by the tribunal, such an auditor against whom the final order has been passed by the tribunal cannot be appointed as an auditor of any company for a period of 5 years from the date of conviction. No audit of any companies for a period of 5 years. And what does it say? And he shall also be liable under section 447, where the punishment is what? At least equal to the amount of fraud, which may extend to 3 times the amount involved in the fraud. And imprisonment 6 months, which may extend up to 10 years. And if the fraud is in public interest, then the minimum period of imprisonment would be 3 years. 3 years. Minimum period of imprisonment would be 3 years. Okay, so shall be liable under section 447. And what does it say? Last part, the liability shall be of the firm and every partner of the firm who acted in a fraudulent manner or who abated or colluded in any fraud by or in relation to the company or its directors or officers. तो है ना, there is a fixed format. थोड़ा कंटेंट ध्यान में रखो कि रिमूवल ऑफ ऑडिटर बाय ट्राइब्यूनल सीजी क्या लिखना है आंसर में. पहले क्या लिखना है? द ट्राइब्यूनल सुओ मोटो और ऑन एप्लीकेशन रिसीव्ड. व्हाट डज इट से? Acted, abated, colluded. Then the tribunal may pass an order saying what? The company should change its auditors. If application is received from CG, then it says tribunal has to pass order within 15 days and the new auditor will be now appointed by CG. then what does it say? Such an auditor against whom the final order has been passed shall not be appointed, cannot do the audit of any company for a period of 5 years and shall be liable under section 447. And the liability shall be of the firm and every partner of the firm who acted, abated or colluded. Right, so removal of auditor by tribunal or CG, R raised to 10. Okay, now because we just made a reference to liability under section 447, let me also come to one amendment which has come in RTP May 18, which is regarding the liabilities under the Income Tax Act 1961. Yes, liabilities under the Income Tax Act 1961. Yes, the liabilities under the Income Tax Act 1961. So if you have the RTP May 18 with you, yes, page number 99 in your RTP May 18. Yes, are you there? Liabilities under the Income Tax Act. Yes, liabilities under the Income Tax Act have been given under 4 sections, 4 rules or different parts. One under section 288, second under section 278, third one under rule 12A of the Income Tax Act, and the last one, which is a new entry, under section 271J of the Income Tax Act. So 288, 278, rule 12A and also section 271J. Yes, also section 271J. Okay, right. What does 288 say? A CA is not allowed to represent before the tax authorities. CA not allowed to represent the assessee before the tax authorities. Can a CA generally represent an assessee before, is he qualified to represent an assessee before the tax authorities? Yes, we even study that in Chartered Accountants Act. And can the CA represent client before the tax costing financial authorities? Yes. But now under 288 says, okay, now you are not qualified. Hana is not qualified to represent the assessee before the income tax authorities. So when is a CA not qualified to represent assessee before the income tax authorities? One, it says when he has been dismissed from government services. One, when he has been dismissed from the government services. So for how long can he not represent the assessee before the tax authorities? It says at all times, never. See, bhul jao abhi tum. Representing the client before the tax authorities. Now you can never if you've been dismissed from government services. Second one, if the CA has been convicted of an offence under the income tax law. Convicted of an offence under the income tax law. Then for what period can the CA not represent the client before the authorities? It says as determined by the order. So जितना time order में लिखा है, for that period CA you cannot represent the client before the tax authorities. Is that okay? Next one, it says CA has been convicted to be guilty of professional misconduct by ICAI. है ना? Guilty of PM is what? Professional misconduct by ICAI. Again, for what period CA cannot represent the client before the tax authorities? Again, as determined by the order. CA has become deemed to be insolvent. है ना? The chartered accountant is deemed to be insolvent. For what period CA cannot represent before the tax authorities? For the period for which the insolvency continues. During the period which the insolvency continues, the insolvency proceedings are going on, can the CA represent before the tax authorities? No, 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 no. He cannot represent. Is everybody getting that? Next one. He has been convicted by a court. Now convicted by a court for an offence involving fraud. Then again, for what period CA cannot represent the client before the authorities? For a period of 10 years. हाँ, तो पहले भी सेक्शन 288 था, अभी भी है, बट अभी उसके कंटेंट में चेंज है. जैसे 271J पहले नहीं था, अभी न्यू आया है. बट फॉर 288 was it there before? Yes, it was there, but there has been a change in the content. ये dismissed from government service, convicted by court, ये सब नया आया है उसमें, insolvency का वगैरह. Do you understand? Dismissed from government services, till what time are you not qualified to represent an assessee before the tax authorities? For all times. You've been convicted for an offense under the income tax law as determined by the order. You've been convicted to be guilty of professional misconduct by ICAI, again as determined by the order. Deemed to be insolvent for the period the insolvency continues, and convicted by a court for an offense involving fraud for a period of 10 years. CA, you are not qualified to represent the assessee before the income tax authorities. Okay, does everybody understand section 288? Right. Next one, section 278. Next one, now I am talking about section 278. Yes, what does 278 say? When will the CA be liable for rigorous imprisonment and also for a fine? If he induces his client to submit false documents to the income tax authorities. So if he induces his client to submit false documents, falsifies, alters, the records to be submitted, जैसे fake bill वगैरह लगा के बना दिया, return file करते वक्त और upload कर दिया fake data, then it says CA you will be liable under section 278. For submitting or inducing the client to submit any documents which he knows to be false or does not believe to be true, then he will be liable under section 278 for rigorous imprisonment and a fine. Under rule 12A, can a CA represent the client before the assessing officer? Can a CA represent client before the AO, assessing officer? Yes. And now when he is representing the client before the assessing officer, he is giving false information regarding the client to the assessing officer, then he be liable under rule 12A. So false information to the AO when he is representing the client before the assessing officer, liable under which rule? Liable under rule 12A. Liable under which rule? Liable under rule 12A. So 288, then you have 278, then you have rule 12A, and then you have 271J. What does 271J say? A registered valuer or a merchant banker or an accountant. RV, MB, AC, what I have written? Registered valuer or a merchant banker or an accountant. Furnishes incorrect information. If any registered valuer, merchant banker or an accountant furnishes incorrect information in any report or certificate, yes, required to be issued under any of the provisions of this act or the rules made thereunder, shall be liable for a penalty of rupees 10,000 for each such wrong report or certificate. 10,000 each for each such wrong report or certificate. So in that accountant, is the CA also included? Yes. So if any registered valuer or a merchant banker or an accountant issues, furnishes any incorrect information in any report or certificate which is required to be issued under any of the provisions of the act or the rules made thereunder, gives any incorrect information, what does it say? He shall be liable for a penalty or a fine of rupees 10,000 for each such wrong report or certificate being issued. This is a new entry. 271J. 288 was पहले भी था, अभी आया है पर चेंज हो गया है. 278 रूल 12A जैसे के वैसा है, and ये 271J, this is a new entry. Does everybody understand that? Liabilities under the Income Tax Act 1961. और वो तो ATF में है ही, liabilities under the Companies Act, civil liabilities and the criminal liabilities. Damages for negligence and liability for misfeasance under civil liabilities, and under criminal liabilities what you have? Untrue statement in prospectus and the false particulars or omission of a material fact. Is that clear for everyone? Right, we'll just take a short break of say 15 minutes over here, and then we will cover the other. Now our focus will be directly specifically on the amendments which are there in the RTP, and then as time permits we will revise the say a few more standards and clauses of CARO and also say tax audit and ethics. Okay, so we'll just take a short break and then we shall continue.